Ever notice someone who never shares a single thing online? Maybe it's your colleague, maybe it's you. Everyone around them broadcasts their vacation, but they actually experience theirs. You might assume they're disconnected, but there's something they understand that most of us overlook. The fewer things you broadcast for validation, the more authentic your existence becomes. Let me pose a question. When did you most recently share something online? Now think, when did you almost share but stopped yourself? That pause, that moment of reconsideration reveals everything important, because in those seconds between preparing content and publishing it, a shift occurs. Your mind runs rapid calculations. Will this get approval? Am I presenting myself attractively enough? Does my existence warrant attention from those hundreds of acquaintances I barely communicate with anymore? A sociologist named Erving Goffman described how humans adopt various personas to manage external perception. Social platforms didn't create this behavior. They simply position that persona before an infinite crowd that never forgets. One questionable post isn't merely embarrassing, it's archived. Anyone can revisit and critique it indefinitely. Those who abstain from posting, they're avoiding the entire spectacle. Research indicates roughly 30 to 40% of platform users qualify as what scholars term lurkers. Individuals who observe but never contribute. That terminology sounds unsettling, doesn't it? Like they're concealed somewhere, monitoring silently. However, research from Frontiers in Psychology discovered something revealing about this pattern. When performance pressure combines with judgment anxiety, something fractures. The investigation determined that self-comparison plus privacy concerns mixed with external expectations generates fatigue and distress. Those emotions drive people toward passive observation rather than active participation. Translation: your consciousness is attempting protection. Consider this reality. Measuring yourself against others isn't simply counterproductive, it's destructive. Everyone broadcasts highlight reels while you navigate ordinary weekday existence. There's a psychology framework called self-determination theory stating humans thrive when experiencing autonomy over decisions without outside interference. Platforms represent the inverse. They're approval engines where personal value gets quantified through reactions and engagement. Individuals avoiding posts aren't disconnected from society, they're safeguarding their autonomy. They're declaring, my worth doesn't require stranger validation online. Evidence suggests those more internally secure and approval-independent rarely feel compelled to broadcast their activities. Their confidence isn't dependent on metrics or feedback. They browse because they appreciate updates or maintaining awareness, but remain silent because boundaries matter. Reflect on someone you recognize who seldom shares anything. When encountering them face-to-face, are they suffering, isolated? Absolutely not. They're typically perfectly content. Often more content because they're experiencing existence instead of documenting it. The invisible hazard. Here's what's fascinating. Even recognizing platforms showcase artifice, your brain still responds. Psychologists discovered that passive scrolling, browsing without contributing, triggers automatic comparison. You witness someone's career advancement, their relationship milestone, their property acquisition, and despite knowing it's curated, harm occurs. Your unconscious doesn't distinguish performed reality from genuine reality. It registers only they possess more advantages than me. Those avoiding posts escape this relentless bombardment, not from weakness, but because they recognize the system is fundamentally unfair. Why voluntarily enter a contest where everyone else manipulates presentation, framing, and narrative? Then there's an entire demographic consuming YouTube content passionately, yet refusing Instagram or TikTok entirely. They'll watch extended documentary content but ignore every lifestyle post. Why? Because YouTube doesn't require personal performance, it's engagement without social obligation. Nobody monitors whether you appreciated the content. Nobody questions your absence from sharing for months. You simply absorb, enjoy, exist. It represents the perfect detached relationship with media. Complete entertainment, zero pressure. They discovered the system bypass. Another dimension exists here. Platform avoiders typically maintain smaller circles but substantially deeper connections. They prefer 5 individuals genuinely informed about their reality over thousands who acknowledged a post. Honestly, evidence supports this approach. Meaningful friendships reliably predict well-being far superior to superficial networks. 10 authentic exchanges surpass 1,000 acknowledgments. Yet here's the intriguing aspect. Abstaining from posting doesn't indicate indifference. These individuals often demonstrate exceptional observation skills. They detect subtleties others overlook. The shift in someone's sharing patterns, altered caption energy, the meticulously constructed narrative that feels slightly incongruent. They haven't disengaged. They're monitoring carefully, just silently. They prioritize comprehension over exhibition, contemplation over announcement, substance over spectacle. Psychologists distinguish 2 categories of self-perception. Public self-consciousness involves concern about external perception. Private self-consciousness focuses on internal thoughts and principles. Non-posters gravitate toward the latter. Rather than considering how appears this, they consider how feels this. This isn't excessive analysis. This represents emotional maturity. When you're not perpetually curating public presentation, mental capacity exists for genuine introspection, for confronting difficult questions, for developing identity independent of external validation. That generates something significant, a sense of self existing without spectators. Here's what people misunderstand. Choosing silence differs entirely from concealment. It's not rooted in fear. It's about authority. It's stating, my personal existence holds sufficient value that broadcasting for consumption isn't necessary. It's recognizing certain experiences diminish through performance. That landscape more striking when you're not capturing images. That dialogue more significant when you're not composing the description. That accomplishment more fulfilling when it remains exclusively yours. Investigators discovered individuals posting infrequently often display elevated self-awareness and reflection capacity. They're less vulnerable to emotional volatility stemming from linking worth to metrics and feedback. They're executing an extended strategy, but here's the contradiction nobody addresses. The identical characteristics driving platform avoidance, autonomy, introspection, security are precisely what platforms claim providing you: connection, community, self-expression. Platforms promised unity. Instead, they established a performance marketplace where authenticity became exceptionally rare, where silence transformed into peculiarity, where abstaining became more unusual than sharing constantly. Those opting out aren't refusing connection, they're refusing the conditions. They're stating, I'll connect, but according to my preferences, synchronously, without theatrics. So here's my challenge for you. What if individuals avoiding platforms aren't experiencing deprivation? What if they understood first? What if selecting privacy over posts, depth over followers, presence over performance isn't antisocial behavior, it's the supreme expression of self-respect? Because ultimately, nobody facing mortality wishes they'd shared more content, but countless individuals wish they'd lived more fully. The silent ones aren't hiding anywhere shadowy. They're simply existing authentically where cameras cannot penetrate. If this resonated deeply, please hit that like button and subscribe to Psychology Decoded. If you want supporting these explorations, tap that join button for channel membership. I genuinely appreciate your support.